Hey, what's good everybody, it's Lance again, and today I'm coming at you yet again with another video. Today I'm going to talk about the new season premiere of Barry on HBO. For those of you who don't know, I thought the freshman season of the show was excellent. It was one of the best seasons I've seen in quite some time, probably since Mr. Robot or Atlanta. So it's been like one of the best rides that I had for the last 8 episodes, and then it coming back this season, it started off with a bang, and I really enjoyed this episode. I just want to get that off the bat. This episode was very excellent, and I cannot wait to see what's in store for the rest of the season. Last season ended very ambiguously. We got to see a standoff between Janice and Barry unfold. However, we didn't really see what happened, who struck who first, who fired the first shots, etc, etc. All we saw was Barry going back with Sally in his bed and basically saying that he was going to stop killing right then and there. Obviously, we kind of all know that he did kill Janice. Episode starts off with a failed hit happening. Books is basically back in Cleveland, Ohio, just trying to like make his own living just like he was doing with Barry, but with somebody else. It's not going as well as it did for him with Barry. It's going quite terribly wrong. He gets arrested while his hitman dies in a police shootout. The guy that hired him is essentially dead as well, and he's the only one that survived. Not too long after that, we see Barry just trying to live a normal life. He's still with Sally. He's trying to have the show go back on. We get the notion right away that Gene is devastated. He is saddened that Janice just up and left as he thinks, or is missing essentially. And everybody believes that she was murdered. Barry's just trying to have his own little fun and just essentially get back to the way things used to be, but obviously it's just not going to be that simple with somebody dead. NoHo Hank believes that himself and Cristobal have a working relationship that's going quite swell. Unfortunately for NoHo Hank, his operation is interrupted because of Esther, who has her own operation. Unfortunately, she wants to try to get into the business as well, and she wants all of them to work together. But Cristobal makes the argument that NoHo Hank's men are just not equipped as well as Esther's, and they are going to need their support. And unfortunately for NoHo Hank, he also gets a letter in the mail that contains a bullet from the Chechens, basically telling him that he's going to die because he's working with the Bolivians, whom he had said killed his boss. Now, obviously, they did not kill his boss, it was Barry, but NoHo Hank, being the nice guy he is, doesn't want to have Barry killed. So he makes up this thing saying that it was the Bolivians. Now he has to come up with a new answer. So now he's saying that Esther, who is the rival territory that he doesn't want anything to do with, is actually the one who killed the boss. Actually, now NoHo Hank is trying to recruit Barry to try to see if he could take out the Esther family. He kind of goes to try to see if he can get Barry to get back into the game. He goes there with a wig. He goes there very friendly like. Barry just kind of tells him off, tells him to go get a life, and just like he doesn't care whether he lives or dies. The LAPD are on the case. They are still trying to track the murder. However, they go up to Gene and tell him that they are basically closing the investigation until further notice, and that the cabin is no longer an active crime scene. Gene is devastated by this and still believes that she was murdered, and Barry is just relieved in the background. Sally is wondering what exactly is going through Barry's mind, but Barry can never really give a clear answer. Has a lot of love and affection for him, but she's still out there just trying to like basically aim for herself. In order to kind of get Gene back into the mix, Barry has to tell a story about his first kill after Gene kind of begs him to, in order to try to get him back into the game, after he threatens to kind of close the whole class down. That we kind of see that he was a cold-blooded killer from the start, an amazing long-range shooter with a sniper rifle, and he was just a very gifted Marine. And we get to see a little bit glimpse of this. His castmates are essentially reenacting this scene, and they do it in a way that makes it seem that Barry was sympathetic with who he killed. But Barry was actually happy that he was able to be accepted by his fellow Marines after they found out that he was actually really talented at what he was doing. After the scene at the acting class, we get NoHo Hank in a different light. This is the first time he's actually very serious, and he actually is not playing any games. He goes as far as threaten Barry and everyone basically at the acting class. It's really crazy because you never really saw this light of NoHo Hank before, because in the first season he was just the light, lovable kind of guy who was just, well, he was just working with the Chechen mob, but you never expected that he had this in him, and it was very believable. Barry was shook, even though Barry kind of knows what he has to do in order to like get away from this situation. NoHo Hank really wants Esther to be gone, essentially, because he doesn't want Barry to die, and he doesn't want himself to die either. So something has to give, and he goes to Barry, and Barry has no choice but to accept this role. Later on in the episode, you get a kind kind of glimpse of the LAPD essentially finding some evidence that Fuchs was involved with Lorraine before he died at the hands of Barry. Essentially, they are basically putting the pieces together into finding out that Barry had something to do with the disappearance of maybe Janice, but also his involvement with Fuchs. I just want to say I really enjoyed this episode and I cannot wait to see how everything unfolds. This is a great series and this episode was awesome. Hiro Murai directed it and he did a superb job. He also works on Atlanta and it shows. His direction is just paramount. He is honestly one of the best television directors working today. Just came off of winning Best Music Video at the Grammys and now he's over here doing Barry again. And I cannot wait to see what other episodes that he particularly directs. It's going to be a very interesting turn of events that happens in the next 7 episodes. Let me know what you guys think again in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching and make sure to like and subscribe for new content. Anyway, as always, have a good one and have a great one.